you collect some lines from Shakespeare. And in fact, I've got some lines here that I've collected from A Midsummer Night's Dream, because I know that some of our people in this group are working on that play, and it's also one of my favorites and one of the easiest to work with, whether it's primary or secondary, actually.
Yes.
So what I do is I take these lines and I print them out and I cut them into separate slips of paper, and you give everybody one line, and that's the first thing. So what I want to do is to give everybody a line from this list, and I'm just going to go again in random order, but we don't worry too much about the meaning at this point. I want you to imagine that I've just given you this on a slip of paper, and what I say to people is find a space. And in fact, when we were doing this a couple of weeks ago, it was so hot in Norwich that we were playing this particular activity outside at the back of a church in the shade. So it's quite nice, really, because A Midsummer Night's Dream is quite a pastoral play anyway. It takes place mainly in a forest, so it was quite suitable. So I give everybody a slip of paper, and what I want you to do is imagine that you've got your slip of paper there and just read that line to yourself quietly. So everybody's doing it at the same time. And imagine that you're walking around, so you can move a little bit with it as well. Or even if you wanted to, you could obviously walk around. So just say the line, and even if it doesn't make complete sense, just speak the words aloud to yourself. And imagine that you're walking around in the space and everybody else is just whispering their own lines as well. They're just saying that particular line. So maybe you hear a word here and there, maybe and you might not understand it, but that doesn't matter. Now what I want you to do is to imagine that there are some magic spirits hidden in your room, or as we were doing it, hidden in the trees and the grass when we were outside behind the church, which was really nice. So I want you to go off to a corner actually of your room, and I want you to whisper your line as though it's a secret to the magic person in the corner of the room. Okay, off you go. It's an invisible spirit. So I want you to go and tell them your secret, and your secret is those words, whatever they are. It's great, actually. I quite like the fact that I can't see most people. It makes it more secretive. It's quite good. All right. So you've told a secret to an invisible spirit in the trees. All right. Now, what I want you to do, completely different, with those same words, I want you to imagine that you're having an argument with your best friend, okay? And it's the same words. Right, off you go. Your friend is in front of you and you're quite angry with them. Great, it's looking good. Yeah, great emotions. So you say it a few times as though maybe you're saying a few different things to your friends. Everybody is walking around and saying those lines obviously a little bit louder now. And the next one is going to be completely different again. I want you to imagine that there's a little child in front of you, probably about 3 years old, and you're going to say the words to them as though you are telling them a nursery rhyme, okay? Like Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water, or however you might want to say your nursery rhyme. I know a bank where the wild tide blows, where oxlips and the nodding violet grows. Can you make it really exciting and fun for the little child? Okay, great. So you've told them the nursery rhyme. And now what I want you to do is to imagine that you are walking through the forest and you are a spy, and you have one of those kind of Bluetooth headsets, all right? you know, or it might be on, you know, like spies have a microphone on their collar. So you're walking through the forest and oh, when she's angry, she is keen and shrewd. Oh, when she is angry, she is keen and shrewd. Oh, when she is angry, she is keen and shrewd. Great, some secret spies. All right, excellent. Now you are the queen or king of the fairies. It's up to you. And your words are, you're standing in front of a magic cauldron that is bubbling with water and all sorts of strange things like frogs and spiders. And your words are a magic spell that you are saying over this magic cauldron. Off you go. Okay. Lovers and madmen have such secret brains. You can drop some things into the pot. Maybe it's a frog, maybe it's a snake. Lovers and madmen have such secret brains. Excellent. All right, good. And the idea is just to get people to say the line in as many different ways as possible. Some other ones that I've got here are say the words as though you are playing with a toy. Okay, so once I've got everybody doing that, what obviously happens is that people become more familiar with their words. And remember, I've got people from Spain and Switzerland and other places, and they might not understand all of the words, but that doesn't really matter. The fact that they've said them, they've probably got a bit more of an idea of the meaning now. So the next stage in the game is to choose a word or phrase within your line that you are going to make an action for. So, for example, if my line was, I'll follow thee and make a heaven of hell, I might have something like, I'll follow thee and make a heaven of hell. I'll follow thee and make a heaven of hell. Or I might say, I'll follow thee and make a heaven of hell. Okay, so whatever it is, I've got just one action. You could try out one or two different ones like I did there. I actually preferred my second one. So you might try one and not really be happy with it, or you might really like it. So choose a word or phrase within that same sentence. And then it's good if you can move around like I was just then. So just try it out in different ways, and you've got that one action that you're making for one part of the line. Okay. Do you feel like you've got that line? You kind of know that line probably now. Most people will know the line, but they can still hold that piece of paper if they want. So then I do things like, so what I'll do is I'll divide the group in half. And I'll say, right, this half of the group, you are the audience. And this half, you have just won you've just won the opening round of a competition to act your line on television. So you've been through all the regional finals and you've beat lots of people to get to the point where you are today. And now you are going to perform your line to the audience to the best of your ability. And you can say it a few times if you like to us. So let's do that. So I'm going to divide the group into half. And what I'd like you to do is actually, if you've got space there, to stand up. And we'll imagine, so if we imagine a line of you, I've got a line of people here standing up. And that after three, they're all going to say their lines as proudly and as courageously as they want to. And you can try it a few different ways as well. Okay. And the rest of us. At the same time? Yeah, all at the same time. Yeah, everybody at the same time. So that's the great thing, because hopefully nobody feels embarrassed. Okay. So after three, 1, 2, 3, go.
Every shadows have ascended.
Think of
It
this.
runs smooth, and all is mended.
What angel makes
Okay, that was great. That was great. Now, I want you to imagine that I'm like one of those judges on the TV panel. And well, okay, that was really great. I saw some wonderful acting there. I don't feel that I'm really seeing the full potential of these performers. When we were in rehearsals, I did see a little bit more, and I know that their nerves have got the better of them on the stage tonight. So, actors, what I'm going to say to you is imagine that you can perform to from 1 to a 10. I would say that what you did there was probably about a 3. Okay, a 3 out of 10. So what I want you to do is to really give us what you showed us in rehearsals. Okay, so after 3, I want you to give me as near to the 10 as you possibly can. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go.
All shadows have ascended. Think of this, and all is mended.
Fantastic. Should we give them a round of applause, audience? Fantastic. Well, the good news is that you've all gone through to the next round. Brilliant. We couldn't choose between you, so this time we're going to send you all through. Now, then I turn to the other half of the group and I'll say something like, the good news is the rest of you have got through to the semi-final. You're so good. You passed all the preliminary rounds. As you know, this is a bit of a knockout round, so we really need you to try your very best. But we know that you are all fantastic performers. There was not one of you that we wanted to let go, and we've seen you in the preliminary rounds. We've seen you in the rehearsal. Obviously, you lay it on as thick as you want, really. To make them feel great, you know. Okay, so can you get yourselves into position then, performers of the second group? And what we're going to do is let's try it maybe 2 or 3 times so that you really get into the flow. You're all going to be working at the same time after a count of 1, 2, 3, go.
Are you sure the truth, reason, and plan keeps little company nowadays?
I know it wrong.
To say
I'd
the
like
truth,
to hear it again. Let's give it a little bit more this time. Off you go. 1, 2, 3, go.
To say the truth, reason, and love keep little company nowadays.
Shall we give them a round of applause? No wonder you got to the semi-final. There were some terrific performances there. I really felt like I was in the forest, surrounded by various different characters from A Midsummer Night's Dream. Okay, so this isn't the end of the exercise. And by the way, you don't have to use Shakespeare. You know, if you're performing another play, you can obviously use lines from that play. You could use lines from any text. It could be from a book as well. So the final part of this exercise is get people to spread themselves out in the space and then explain that everybody is going to close their eyes, and then you're going to walk through the group and tap people on the shoulder. And when they are tapped on the shoulder, they can open their eyes and say their line, deliver their line, and then close their eyes again. Okay. I walk on to someone else and I try and walk around the space so that they never quite know where the next words are going to come from. And it's quite magical, you know, because they're really, by now, they've heard the words before, but this is the first time that people are saying them on their own. But the great thing again is that everybody has got their eyes closed. So still, the person who is speaking shouldn't feel too embarrassed. You know, they open their eyes and they can say their line and then close their eyes again. After doing that for a minute or something like that, I then start to overlap the line. So I'll tap someone here, they start their line. I tap someone else, they start their line. And then you just get this kind of poetic kind of atmosphere of lines being spoken, this is just the most brilliant way to introduce a play or a scene, you know. So even if people didn't know what the words were, you could then talk to them afterwards and say, you know, did you get an understanding of your line? You might find that if they are kids or adults with a second language of English, that they might ask you for the meaning of some words, and that's fine. You can give them an indication of the meaning. I imagine. Yeah, let me just ask you for a bit of feedback. What experience you had just doing the game just now?
I think it's a great experience, great activity for me, because we use our body, we speak the lines, we show expressions. So actually, and we learn the lines, but it is very, very creative, in a very creative way. So I'm definitely going to use it. Yes, it's great.
I was saying that I could pitch that at any age in the primary age with something really, really simple, some very simple words to start with, or even maybe in infants with getting the children to do it in pairs. So that they had that support of a younger, at a younger age. I could also see that actually, because one of the things that I'm having to introduce is some sort of showcase to parents, and I could see that sort of actually practically doing that activity in front of parents would be a really simple way of showing a development of an idea with a performance at the end of it.
With the infants, that you could get them all doing one same line at the same time. You know, because I think they would find it hard if everybody was trying to say different things and they wouldn't remember the words. So you've got to do it by rote, really, with repetition, with everybody joining in. Yeah.
Well, I think it may encourage students to, be wanting to learn more about the play itself.
I think you're right.
This was my impression.
Yeah,
I've never loved A Midnight Summer Dream, because it's too complicated for me. Too many people, too many dimensions, so to speak. But I felt sort of encouraged, inspired to just go ahead, learn more, read the play.
What's nice is, as Eleni said, they get an idea of lots of different characters, and it may be that they end up not playing any of these characters, or so some lines might be from Titania, some might be from Oberon or Puck or Bottom or other characters, and they're just getting a flavor, as Helena said, so they're just beginning to get an idea of what the play might be about.